I know street, I know book, I know HR. So I learned carpentry, welding. I did bus conductor. Really just make your place a great place to work. How? Have the right policies, hiring process, recruitment process. People want to work when you're a great place to work. Hire ISEC graduate, JCI graduates, announcer, and actors. But don't hire shiny talent when you should be hiring hustler. Also don't hire hustler when you should be hiring shiny talent. So if you are not orthodox and your surname is not Dangote, close mouth, don't get fed. Don't just work. Show you are working. What did you do as a student? Were you in SFC, JCI, ISEC? Were you a fellowship executive? See a man, a woman, diligent in their work that the king sees or hears about. You shall stand before the king and not mere men. You find out what you want to do by doing. There is someone that needs the knowledge that you have. So just share what you have. I left my dad and started living with my mom in Lagos. Growing up was very rough, to be honest. And just reading just changed my mindset, my reality.
Hi, Emmanuel, welcome.
Hello.
Before we started recording, right, we started talking about your very, very busy schedule, a lot of things you have ongoing. But then I want to take it back a bit, right? Before all of the titles, the recognition, brilliant HR works, amazing stuff you've done, big cabal, career-wise. Who is Emmanuel Faith? And then what was growing up like for you?
Who is Emmanuel Faith? Emmanuel Faith is a good-looking man. Emmanuel Faith is a good-looking man that likes eating rice and beans, watching K-drama, and watching women football. Guys, seriously, that's my life. Every other thing is for man to survive. But what's growing up like for me? It's been a while since someone asked me that question. Growing up was very rough, to be honest. I grew up in a village called Abafa, literally village of alphas. It was a very Muslim society, and all these things that you guys read on Twitter, they're actually true. There are places in Nigeria where Islamic education is prioritized over Western education, because I grew up in an environment like that. I know it wasn't in Katsina or Kaduna, it was in Ibadan, right? Yeah, so I grew up in a village called Abafa. I went to school. One good thing I think the only good thing that happened in my childhood was I scored the highest. I had the highest mark in my common entrance in my local government. So I scored 98%, and I got scholarship to go to 2 secondary schools. So how it happens, I don't know how it works now, is that when you pass your common entrance, depending on your score, they give you the secondary school to go to. But because my score was so high, they asked my father, where do I want to go? So I picked Ibadan Grammar School and Wesley College, because those were the top secondary schools in Ibadan. Then I ended up going to Adelagon because I was 8 years old and they wanted me close home. The sad story is that I dropped out of school for 6 years because there was a lot of things. There was a lot of political riots. My mom left my dad, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, then I got back. So I was out of school between 10 and 15. I got back to secondary school 16, graduated 19, resumed during 20, graduated 24, started hustling. And we are here today.
So what an interesting journey. But what was it like, that break? Did it affect your journey in any way?
So the break, I was learning crafts. I probably have shared this story in some podcasts. I'll probably share videos so that I will link. I learned a couple crafts. I've always been handy. I've always liked to do things with my hand. So I learned carpentry, welding. I did bus conductor. I can call passenger for you if you want. Yeah, so I did bus conductor. So I was on the streets for a while. I was really on the streets for a while. To be honest, I think that the major takeaway is that some people were dealt with unfair coins, to be honest, growing up. Because when I left the street, went back to school, not a lot of people had the opportunity to leave the street. And some people also actually left the street. There are people that said, I would do bus conductor for 2 years to raise money to write JAMB. I would do bus conductor. There was a guy, his name is Sulaiman something. He did bus conductor and wrote GCE, because GCE is what people that don't. And then from GCE, he wrote UTME. And from UTME, he went to do ND, HND. The last time I checked, he was a lecturer at Taisola University. And this was someone that we did bus conductor together, right? So the first part is that life deals different people with different coins, but the second part is also that you really can make the best out of whatever life deals you with.
And make something out of it.
Yeah.
So you deciding that you still want to go back to school and then journeying to going to OAUs to study economics. So what was it like? Did you just feel that, oh, I think I need to pursue something much bigger? Were there influences that made you say, I think there is more to my journey or my
Nah.
future than just staying
Oh
in
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
environment?
So like, remember I said that my mom and my dad were separated. So like, I left my dad and started living with my mom in Lagos, which is why I came to this your chaotic city. Yeah, so I left Ibadan to come to Lagos. My mom was a teacher because she's retired now, and like the only way she knew was education, right? And all she did for me and my brother was to just make us read, just read books, read. Alan Contamen, Eze Goes to School, King Solomon's Mine. What's the name of this popular doctor? Think Big, Gifted Hands. Yeah, so she just exposed us to books. She didn't even tell us this is what to do or not what to do.
This is what your future will look like if you read.
She just gave us books. She just noticed that I liked reading, my brother liked reading, and she just bought us books every weekend, brought books from my school every weekend. Like, so Monday to Friday, read, go to school, come back, read. Like, you know how they used to beat children to go and read? They did not beat us to read. We loved reading. Even
and
when
she provided the books for you too.
So our duty was to give us books. And just reading just changed, my mindset, my reality. Just what movie does for us now. That was what books did for me. It just took me to another possibility that existed. I'm like, oh, do you know what? Yeah, I want to go back to school. I will know. And then I went back to school. And interestingly, again, because when I was out of the streets, I wasn't completely disconnected from books. Like, I still go back home at night and still read, So it wasn't very easy, but it was sort of easy to transition back to school. I just needed like a couple times to adjust. Yeah, so I'd credit my mom for just exposing us to overwhelming knowledge. And that sort of shaped, whatever happened when I then went back to school, wrote WAEC, went to OAU and stuff. How did I learn about OAU, for instance? I think I'd read a publication about some students from OAU that went for a competition. Like, people can go to competition from university. They had gone to South Africa for a competition. Oh, I want to go to that university.
And then that was, you feel the OAU. But then why economics?
My brother.
And then?
Thank you very much for that question. Oh yeah, and then what?
Yeah, and then, so moving from economics now to people management, leadership.
HR, yeah, so why economics? Let me tell you people, let me confess. The reason why I studied economics is because I applied for accounting twice in OAU and they did not give me accounting. And so the third year, I was I did not fail JAMB, but I passed JAMB. But apparently, I would discover in the third year that I was writing a wrong combination of my subjects. So maybe, those times.
BCP.
Exactly.
I went to AU too. So
so they're like, oh, this department. There are people that legit move from economics to economics education because they wrote the wrong combination.
Could be just one subject.
Do you get? Some people write commerce instead of account instead of commerce. So that was what happened to me. So the third year, then, you didn't have business admin. So I'm like, what is closest to accounting? I don't want to do local government, something. So the closest course that was available then was economics. I'm like, what's economics? It's not just divide dx, demand and supply. Hey, Jesus, if only I knew. Yeah, so that's why I did. So I did not wake up somewhere and say I want to do economics now. Economics, like it was JAM Center, computer center as you were feeling. That's how economics happened. So how did I move from economics to HR? Very good question. I had done it, by 200 level, obviously, because I picked economics for the very wrong reason. By the time I got into it proper, I realized that So my CGPA looked like AAB, DDE. So the A are the written courses, because I like to write. So developmental economics, gender economics, you see we write a lot. But anything that has DYDX, you know how people, we used to dance. When you see an E, you're like, I don't have an F. Thank you, my Lord Jesus God. We go again next semester. The goal was to not have an F at some point.
You just keep going, move forward.
Yeah, but I was not academically brilliant. Was actually extremely intelligent. I'm not even shy to say it. Like, I don't know if I'm still very intelligent, but in uni, I was extremely intelligent. How did I know? Everybody wanted me in their group when we had group presentations. And the least mark my group ever scored is like a 70%. Meaning that if the presentation over 10, the least my group will ever score is 7 over 10. There was a presentation that we did, I can never forget, Economics of Production. My group was the only group that scored 15-15. And the lecturer said that he had never given anybody 15-15 before. Just because of, so when it comes to like conceptualizing something to execution, Okay, now we are talking about HR. Leading people to execution, coordinating my group to execute something. I was so good at it. In fact, like in 300 level and 400 level, because I was doing a lot of things together and we also get there. There are sometimes I miss classes. People pick me in their group before I come. So they'll be like, Emmanuel Faith, oh, you missed this class, oh, but you're in group 13. These are the people in group 13, Jumoke, Shade, Shola.
Just join them and find out what you're supposed to do.
People fought to have me in their group. So when it comes to like things that are not pure academics, excellent. But when it comes to Lakam Lapoa, you will not find me there. It's 45 E Street. Yes, so because of that, I did a lot of extracurricular. And my extracurricular got me 2 very pivotal internships. One with Meristem, one with Africhange.
What year of school was that?
300 level into 400 level. Okay. I got one in 200 level, but like it was not official. So the official ones were like 300 level to 400 level. And again, in my school, like when you study economics, by default, you're supposed to go into finance, oil and gas, consulting. So because all our senior colleagues, that's what they did, right? I mean, you're telling me you should now just senior colleagues. So I went to Africhange, came back, they paid me good money. Went to Meristem, came back, they paid me good money. But when I came back, I'm like, nah, finance is not for me. I don't like numbers that much, which was a major mistake in retrospect. So I knew I didn't want to do finance, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So in that 300 level, I won a competition. I always like to reference that competition because I beat a 400 level in the final. It's like a face-off. So the chairman of that competition, again, you're telling me, so you know how these things work. Funtokoya, always shouted, said, oh, hey, Faith, let's catch up. It's like, oh, what do you want to do? I'm like, man, I don't know what I want to do, but I know what I don't want to do. And what I don't want to do.
I don't
finance. Finance, numbers, nah. You shall not find me there. It's like, oh my gosh, what have you done? Like, oh, I was class captain, this, da. I was course rep. I was like, oh, have you considered HR? I'm like, Kinjabe. Oh, go and research about HR and like come back to meet me. And then I went to research, wrote her like 4 pages. And she saw my email. I've always been smart, Sha. So because she asked me to like send her an email. Yeah, and then we had a catch up. And she's like, oh, I think that you make an amazing HR professional. And that was it. Yeah.
Interesting journey. You did a lot of curricular activities that earned you pivotal internship and roles. You met someone that helps you even figure out what you could do next. How important is doing a lot of all these things for some young people that might be in school currently?
Oh no, it's very important. I mean, I was on a panel over the weekend. We were just talking about recruitment, and we were talking about how we were 3 HR professionals, by the way. I wasn't really a speaker, I was a moderator, and both of them were talking about how at entry level, one of the things they actually watch out for is people that have done things outside your academics. Yeah. 2 things. I like to say that you find out what you want to do by doing. Like you don't find out what you want to do by reading Psalm 23 and doing 3 days fasting and prayer. I don't think so. You actually find out what you want to do by doing. That's point 1. Point 2 is also like this is 2025, right? One of the ways that you can demonstrate that you have done things, and this is people that don't have work experience and they were not even able to like land an internship or something, is what did you do as a student? Were you in SFC? Were you in JCI? Were you in ISEC? Were you a fellowship executive? Because have you seen what fellowship executives used to go through? Yeah, so
leading
were you
people and then getting projects?
Have you led people? Have you coordinated a project? Did you do, there are some really nice things that some of my friends did in uni. Give out books to the needy, give out clothes to the needy, raise fund for 100 shoes for development. Like, you think all those things are minor? I promise you, they are super, super major. And they've just showed that you have the ability to conceptualize, to ideate, and to execute. And to be honest, at entry level, I'm even talking as like an HR professional now. This is like one of the things that we watch out for.
I'm sure they'll find that really valuable. So you left OAU and then you've built a very, I know you still have high goals, right?
Netflix! Buffer! I've added Buffer to my list now.
Exactly.
Call me, Revolut.
Yes.
I'm available.
You've done really cool stuff, built a thriving career in the HR space.
Yes, I have.
Right. So let's dig in a bit to what you do in HR. At Africhange, for example, you are having to deal with lead diverse teams across countries, even within country, different behavior for different projects in a fast-paced environment like fintech. What are some of the toughest challenges you've had to deal with, maybe in your current role or across your HR journey? And yeah, what did you do to solve those challenges?
So like three bullet point, guys. Number one is managing multiple stakeholders. So I'm just going to talk through like career-wise to pick up media to like Africhange. I think that. So I wrote an ebook recently, guys. Started out to do HR in Nigeria. I just one of my colleagues, she works at Africhange, I respect her a lot, who said, by the time you are done reading this book, you realize that HR is babying people that you are older than and try not to get them offended. But like it's true, at strategic level, HR is literally managing people. And I feel like excellent HR people will make good politicians because you are just managing the interests of multiple people while trying to achieve business goals. So you're telling the founder not to fire the employee. You're also telling the employee
Not to leave anyhow or get the job done.
to get the job done. You are telling the founder this person needs a raise, but you're also telling the employee to work hard so that he will be positioned for the next raise. In very confusing states, there's an employee asking for a raise and the founder actually wants to fire the employee.
Interesting.
So it's literally when I wake up, I think there was one podcast, they're like, oh, what do you like about my job? I'm like, oh, what I like most is that when I wake up, I don't know what problem I'm going to solve. And it's not liking people. It's just being able to manage like people's different expectations to be able to ultimately meet business goals and objectives, because that's why you are there. The second biggest challenge, of course, now at Big Carbon Media, I manage like employees across different time zones. And I'm doing the same thing at Africhange. I didn't do that career-wise, so life was easy. But it's also like managing different people. For example, I have an employee engagement like 4 to 5 p.m. That 4 to 5 p.m. is 9 to 10 a.m. of one of my colleagues in Canada. And apparently and surprisingly, I just discovered 2 weeks ago that there's one of my employees that's actually 2 hours earlier. So 4 to 5 p.m. that we thought is a good time for US, UK, Canada, it's actually a bad time for Lithuania. Because by 4 p.m. is 6 p.m. her time and she wants to go on a date with her boyfriend. And so I'm saying, oh, why didn't you join this 4 to 5 p.m. It was like, oh, Faith, it's 6 p.m. my time and I have hangout with my friends on Friday by 6 p.m. I go take drum. Right? So it's just managing nuances. And like the third part is really culture. So when you're managing a multi-demographic organization, I think, was it my so I have a course on Task Stack, guys. The Staff Stack sponsoring us, no. But I have a course on Task Stack. Task Stack come as sponsor. I'm doing free PR for a. So I did a course on compensation and benefit. I was talking about how, from a total rewards perspective, different things appeal to different people. For instance, Americans will prefer. Let me ask you, would you prefer an increase in leave allowance or an increase in leave days? Let me be more specific. Would you prefer a 25% increase in leave days or a 50% increase in leave allowance?
Interesting question.
Yeah. Welcome to HR.
I think I would I prefer the leave days.
No. I like you. You like soft life. 7 out of 10 Nigerians will actually prefer increase in leave allowance. And that's because we have a crazy hustle mentality. And Americans will do the same. Europeans will pick leave days because Europeans prioritize work-life balance. They want to have a good time. Like French, you watch Emily in Paris, even if you didn't. Emily in Paris is what life looks like in France, guys. Those people, you fix a meeting during their break time. Now only you go there.
I saw someone posted on Twitter, it was like, over there, they say you are working too much, just take time.
They just want to, I promise you, everything they showed in Emily in Paris is true. They just want to have fun. Imagine that you are not the HR lead of a company that has America and France. How do you manage?
Responses to stuffs or situations will be different.
Yeah, so that's one major conundrum if you're in a global role like I am, that you have to figure out every day what appeals to different people. But
interesting. Let's double down on that culture, right? Culture is like a word that has been thrown around a lot. People talk about some key startups that in Nigeria, that they have great culture. I know that you always talk about the amazing work you did in career-wise too, right? And then there are other startups or businesses that are also trying to see how they can build a good culture or great culture. So what's your framework like? So let's do free stuff or free master class for maybe businesses or startups that maybe can afford to hire someone, maybe an HR like you for now. what should they do? How important is culture, having the right culture, building it, and then how can they do it?
If you cannot hire me, you can book HR clinic.
Yeah.
Book HR clinic for free consulting. Yeah, Google Emmanuel Faith HR clinic and book a session. Thank you. Very affordable. So think about it. We did culture in social studies, right? Culture is the total way of life, right? So as a company, culture is how you live life, how your employees live life. For example, if we pick total rewards, which is compensation and benefits, which is what we're talking about. How do we reward our employee? I was reading about a company called Buffer. If you're a social media manager, you probably use Buffer. Buffer do not just give salary. They do not just give end of the year bonus. Buffer will say, this year we made $100,000 in profits. Josh, take your share. Joshua, take your share. Solomon, take your share. Like, do you know how awesome that is? Minus 30 salary, minus leave allowance. We made profit 100,000. Oh yeah, all of you that are junior, your share is 1%. Manager, your share is 5%.
So it's going to give a different kind of drive to get things done. Since you know that once we make more money, I get more money.
That's crazy. That's insane. But that's also the culture that the founder have said.
This
if
is what they
people
want to
work in my company, I want them to immediately get reward. There is another company, Money Point. We all saw the guy that became multi-billionaire because Money Point became a unicorn. If you work in my company excellently for a long period, which is what ESOP is all about, employee stock options, right? If you work in my company for a long period of time, so your shares vest at 4 years or 5 years, that means you are committed to my company for 5 years. At the end of 5 years, if we have built something great, you can cash out this option. And some companies say, your salary is your salary. We'll pay you good salary, but that is your salary. And I've used total rewards because in this part of the world, we like money. That it spills into other things. So at Carry Rice, we want to serve. Why did we start serving lunch at Carry Rice? Because we realized that people spend, and you and me and my producers will agree that we spend a remarkable amount of time thinking about what to eat.
Yeah, and then going out to get what to eat also.
Oh my God. So we don't want you to think about what to eat. We don't want what to eat to distract you. We don't want you to go out and buy food. We want you to know that when you are working, you can take a break, go into the kitchen and eat. We are saving 1 or 2 productive hours. That is why we decided to serve lunch. Is the lunch expensive? Yes. But is it more expensive to let people go around Ikeja, GRA, go to buy amala, come back, be tired, look at their time, it's 4 p.m. Lagos traffic, and end their day at 2 p.m.? Do you get? So when you think about culture, think about how do I want my employees to live? Do I want them to say, Oga is here, Oga? Or do I want them to say, oh, hi, Josh, I know that you said this in the last meeting, but I think that we should do it this way. Can an intern send, in fact, this is the illustration I like to use the most. Can an intern send a CEO a message on Slack? Now, if an intern cannot, it is not bad too. It just means that that's the culture. And if an intern can, then fantastic. That's also the culture. Each culture has pros and cons. There are a lot where there is pros. For example, Buffer CEO was dragged earlier this year. People are dragging him that, oh, that's a bad idea. You're a startup. You should be stocking up your profits, something. And he came and replied and said, every day my staff are betting their lives to work for my company. My investors are not angry. Why are you people angry? He has not made a loss since 7 years ago. It might not be a unicorn. Maybe he doesn't plan to be a unicorn. But he has shared profits consistently for the last few years. So there's no culture that is bad. It's asking yourself, what do I want my workplace to look like? I recently consulted for, I will think that like you're too small a business. I'm just sharing this illustration. I recently consulted for my friend who runs a beauty brand, House of Vivo. Shout out to you, House of Vivo, for patronizing HR clinic. She just runs a team of less than 10. But like we did like an end-to-end culture framework, designed our policies for her. And she said at the end, she's like, oh, thank you so much. Because I know I'm going to be big. And by the time I get big, I want to have structures and systems. I don't want someone to feel bad for coming to work or feel underappreciated or rewarded. And that's also just one caution. When people drag funders, you would rarely see me join them to drag funders. And it's because from my experience with consulting, for some founders don't even know. Like they don't know that they are supposed to do this thing. Yeah, so just think about culture in a way of how do I want my people to live life? From a money perspective, from a words perspective, from a how we work perspective. Yeah, that's literally about the culture.
That's like very, very insightful for founders to use, and then for even employees to looking out for places to work in, to try and
Exactly.
assess that, is this what I want to be part of? Yeah, what are the benefits?
I really like that
see.
employees, just one line that you can choose to work in a US kind of company. So as an employee, you also have to figure out where do you want to work. Do you want to work in a place where the work is really intense and you also get quick reward? Or do you like slow living? Do you want to work in a fast-paced environment or do you want to work in a slow-paced environment? Yes, I just sort of felt to add that.
You've been involved in a lot of finding great talents, hiring great talents.
Yes, I am.
And then maybe, and also like doing everything possible to retain great talent, and maybe in some cases firing maybe great talent or just firing talent. So what are like key things you can, that any founder or anybody watching this can take on how they can find, hire, and then retain?
Find higher rating. Guys, that's a masterclass. That's like a 1 hour masterclass. So I'm going to do like bullet points. Have an excellent employer branding. People want to work at great places to work. So make your company a great place to work. And you do not have to really be a big company
To do that.
to be a great place to work. Like there are small companies. I was researching about like the advertisement agency, and someone just mentioned a company. I'm like, oh, that company, I've heard positive things about them. Like it's one small agency with like 10 people. The name is evading my memory right now. But like people know that this small agency is a great place to work if you are like in performance, ads, PR. If I talk about PR in Nigeria now, I would always refer Rene. Rene do not have up to 10 employees, but their founder is an amazing person, and Rene PR is a great place to work. So like people, when I mention great place to work, people always think of like big names. Like Money Point wasn't a big name 4 years ago. Carrywise, when I joined Carrywise in 2020, people used to say, oh, who is Carrywise? In 2020. And like this 2025 now, everybody knows Carrywise, right? So really just make your place a great place to work. How? Have the right policies, have the right hiring process, have the right recruitment process. People want to work when you're...
Hello, sorry for the break. I know you're enjoying the episode. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please just hit the subscribe button, click the like button, and also leave a comment. Share it to friends and family. It goes a long way to help the channel. You can get right back into the video.
Number 2, do not hire shiny talent if you do not have the structure to maintain them. And now we are talking retention. Like some of you will hire superstars and you want them to come and do magic. See, those superstars were superstars because they had systems that worked where they were superstars. If you do not have a system that will let superstars work, don't hire them. You will just waste money, right? Hire hustlers. If it's hustlers project that you have,
That wants to grow.
hire the hustlers. I promise you, because they are hustling, they will do good work for your company. They will actually add immense value to your company. And by the time your company grow, you will either have the money to now be able to match their current market value or be able to hire like a senior person. But don't hire shiny talent when you should be hiring hustler. Also, don't hire hustler when you should be hiring shiny talent. Yeah. Then to find, I'd always advise at entry levels, look for like, I call them talents pipeline, right? Look for training programs, look for campus ambassadors program. Student organizations in Nigeria are doing a lot, and I feel like funders are not leveraging on that. If you are a finance startup, world startup for instance, hire talent from SFC, that's Student Finance Club, from TIS, that's the investment club. Like, because what these clubs are doing is that they are already building the soft set skills that is required to thrive. So by the time they are coming to your organization,
you're not starting from zero.
Do you get? I EduBridge graduates. EduBridge is doing a fantastic job in like just molding talent to like soft skills and stuff. If you are a social entrepreneur, something, hire ISEC graduates, hire JCI graduates, hire announcer, enactors, because these people have already done things in a non-rewarding, non-profit, not non-monetarily rewarding environment. So they built the capacity and the skill sets to come and add value to your organization. So you should really leverage on like talent pipeline, and also just have like solid training programs. This is why I always respect banks like the Fugas and like other banks that have solid training programs in Nigeria, because what they do is they've added to the talent pool, because they have like 40 people in their training programs, train all of them for 6 months and then just take 12. Yeah, the 28 that were not taken will feel like they are bad, they are something, but it's a lie. They'll go and work with other organizations with the skills that they've learned from that graduate training programs. And so maybe instead of looking at things from a negative lens, maybe those are like positive things that we need to be looking at. And then guys, when students call for sponsorship, don't ignore them, because when you donate to these things, you're actually donating to a future talent pipeline that might come back and add to your organization. My first job out of school, TaxAid, I like to reference them a lot. They were part of the sponsors of a tax conference that we had. And then I won a competition, and then they got me in. The value that I added to that company, like I say it on camera, is more than the money that they gave. That in fact they now became like a standard sponsor for Tax Club over the next 2 or 3 years, because I was the first graduate intern they have, and they realized how much value they could get from graduate interns, and then they now opened up that pipeline to UI, to Unilag and stuff, just because they decided to sponsor like Tax Club, OAU, Tax 180 or whatever they called it here. So look for talent pipelines. They're all around you.
I'm sure founder businesses would have picked a lot of things, and even individuals to students that are in school can pick a lot of all these bodies and clubs you mentioned. Look out for them in their campuses. Join. I also love the interesting stuff that CarryWise did with their own student ambassador program too. Pretty interesting. And when they come out, lots of times it's easy for them to say, "Oh, I think I want to go and work with these people that."
Yeah, definitely.
You also have this career workshop that you do for individuals that are trying to navigate getting a new job, a better job. What do you advise them about how they should prepare, structure their applications for them to get something?
As someone who was in the job market for 6 months plus, Italio, stop outside my people. Yeah, so so I'm going to section it. At entry level, I feel like despite how you should know the economy is tough, right? Our current government has not done the best job the last 8 years. Economy has been very shitty. So because I study economics, I can also explain this thing. It's a macroeconomic spillover effect. When there is a sort of stiffness in the economy, people hold on to cash. So when people hold on to cash, it spills over. Practical illustration: if a company made 100 million naira in revenue last year, and normally 2 years ago, and normally they apportion say 5 million to talent development, which means 5 million to graduate trainee, campus ambassador program, sponsoring 5 million. So the next year, it's not 100 million revenue profits.
Okay.
So the next year, they now made 50 million profits, or 25 million, which is what has happened, by the way, over the last 2 years. Now, the 10 million or 5 million that they used to give graduate training, that would be like 1 million, or even 500,000. That's if the CEO is kind and not say, "Oh, we are not doing graduate training this year."
Until we become more profitable.
Now, if they say we are not doing graduate training this year, say that graduate training train 50 people every year, that's 50 slots closed. The ripple effect is that 50 people that are supposed to get their job will go and compete
for upper available.
And that's how macro affects micro. So things are tough generally. But still, despite that, entry level, I feel like because entry level talent don't cost a lot, companies are always very open to entry level. So at entry level, have a good CV, have a good cover letter, have an amazing LinkedIn, have what I call proof of concept. So you might not have your first job yet, but have something you've done. Just use your skill to do excellent stuff. So you're a designer, you have not gotten your entry level job, no problem. Do 30 days of design, 30 days of redesigning, and put it out there. That's how, I used to tell my sister, I'm so jealous of you people, because at entry level, it's actually easy to get a job because you don't cost a lot. You just need to put yourself out there. Someone will actually take a bet on you. At mid-level, show authority. People hire people for personal branding now, just because they want to have a good name. Show authority, show track records of impact and results. So at mid-level, your CV now needs to be very results-driven. You cannot write a generic, resume anymore. Use a good LinkedIn profile, optimize your LinkedIn, let it be SEO, easily searchable. You also need proof of concept, right? Have things that you're doing outside work that you can easily make reference to. And it's work only that you're doing. Track your work in metrics and impact. At senior level, Please position yourself for international roles, not in this country. Thank you.
You've dropped a lot of gems for anyone that is really looking out for something to really pick and use. You'll be doing a lot of mentoring with the career workshop, guiding people that want to get jobs, even guiding next generation of HR, right?
Yeah.
You've also done ADP list.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's true. I have that thing. Yes.
Yes. So why exactly are you passionate about mentoring? And then also, how do you approach guiding the next generation of HR?
That's a good question to ask. I say that's a good question because this is the second time someone is asking me this year. It's literally never dropped on my mind that, oh man, I'm passionate about this thing. So why am I passionate about mentoring? So number one, I genuinely know my profession. Like I know HR. Like I can see there are few things I can brag about in this world. One of them is that I know HR. Yeah. Second, I feel like I'm like a moving body of knowledge, and like continuously need to like dissipate. Right. I also feel like just sharing knowledge in a relatable way helps people because like I read a lot. There was a time that I read an HR article every day for 180 days. So like I don't want to be a reservoir, like just yeah, I like to be a river, like flowing. Most of my mentorships is like extremely informal. I just attend an event, someone sell themselves to me, like 10 people sell themselves to me and like one sticks out. So I pick that one, or someone writes me, people do crazy things. Maybe you should do crazy things. It's one of my mentees that we met because she wrote me like a long ass email after reading my ebook. Like, you read my ebook and you wrote this email. Me, when I write the ebook, self. I not think about these things when I was writing. And like we just became stuff. Or someone just shoot their shot at me on LinkedIn. I'm like, you are smart. It's one of my, I call her my baby girl. It's one of my mentees. She's now a founder. She's on the founders program in Germany. She shot at shots in 2021. Before she traveled, we still laughed about it because she looked at the message in 2024 and she was like, she can't believe she said something that ridiculous. But like in 2021, it made sense to me that you are not a graduate and you are this bold, this audacious, let's talk. Yeah, so I have most of my mentorships are very, very unstructured, but just in terms of like giving knowledge out, like I feel like I have a lot of knowledge to give. Also, I've had a very unique trajectory when it comes to HR. I've done HR for like 8 years and 6 of them has been in lead roles. Not everybody has that luxury, right? Yeah, so I like to just share as much as possible. So I share on LinkedIn, share on Twitter, share on my YouTube channel, which is one of the reasons why I said yes to you. That, oh, okay, this is like a planner. You have the platform. Then let me bring the knowledge and the experience to share. So
talking about putting yourself out there, like you know that you know this thing, right? I love how you are very intentional about putting yourself out there. You are very confident about your work when it gets to time of talking about the brilliant stuff you did in career wise. You are not shy about talking about them. There are a lot of like brilliant people. And I have seen one of your videos where you also said you are an introvert. Even though people will see everything you do and they will not believe that.
See, if you know how long he has been chasing me to come for this podcast, I'm like, you know what? I have to reward this young man's resilience. So subscribe to his YouTube channel. Thank you. I like to sit in my house like mad. My room. Hey, I like my room. I don't like to go out and talk to people.
Which is interesting. Some people will find it quite difficult to believe because when they see your Instagram, I look at Instagram too, you have this maybe series of what you started doing recently. Yeah. You snap with a lot of your friends and then you give like every week compilation. So nobody will be able to believe that like you're an introvert, but then you're intentional about putting yourself out there. So there are a lot of other brilliant people that they know their stuff, but sometimes they are not sure about it. They don't know how to put it out there. So how did it happen suddenly for you, or how did you learn how to, you know your stuff and you are very confident and intentional about putting yourself out there?
Okay, I'll also answer the question, how do people put themselves out there? Yeah, so if you are not Otedolas and your surname is not Dangote, close mouth, don't get fed. As a matter of fact, have you been seeing Mr. Eze's post? Today we'll say, oh, glad to have gone with the president of Equatorial Guinea to close this deal. Tomorrow is
Not long after his wedding, he has been intentional about posting those
someone
stuff.
said honeymoon. He said honeymoon.
Mr.
If
Lajo.
Mr. Easy is posting his business, is positioning, because when he posts that is with the president of Equatorial Guinea, don't you know that that is
Signaling,
sending a positive perception, signaling to investors that be looking at him that is this boy serious or not? But they've seen him with president of Equatorial Guinea, they've seen the level of seriousness. So if Mr. Easy can post business, and have you seen the way Femi Otedola advertised his book? I'm not sure I've advertised my book like that. I saw his post when I'm like, Emmanuel, you need to advertise your book more. So if Otedola and Mr. Easy are posting, who are you? My brother, my sister. Not to talk about what you do. So yeah, people genuinely struggle with putting themselves out there and also just sharing a bit that they know. And I understand when you're just starting out. In the words of the great philosopher, Salem King, there is someone that needs the knowledge that you have. And now, because I'm now like an authority in my field, it's easy to say it's easier for me to do it. But guess what? Even when I was not an authority, I used to write about the things I know. I remember that when I was in tax, because I was in tax when I moved to HR, I would just say, oh, today I went for a tax audit. Oh, this is VAT, this is PIT, this is WHT, this is how business can maneuver, this is how business can pay less, maybe this is how business can convert VAT to WHT, because I think that VAT is more expensive than WHT. So there are scenarios where you can design like vendors contracts to ensure that you pay WHT, which is like 5% or 10%, instead of paying VAT, which is like a fixed 7.5%. And like I will write those things. I mean, I'm talking 8 years ago. See how I'm still remembering them vividly, right? So it's literally just sharing what you know where you are. Let me use a practical illustration. I have like 8 years career in HR now. So when I write, entry-level read, mid-level read.
You find it valuable.
In fact, let's be practical. I have like two sort of quote-unquote mentees. The HR girl, her name is Ifeluwa, and the sexy HR, which is very weird. His name is Toyosi. Both of them are like 2 to 3 years experience. And both of them create HR content. She actually said for the handle, that's the handle, the HR girl and the sexy HR. They have 2 to 3 years experience. They are creating content. Their content will be very useful for someone that is just entering HR.
Yeah.
I can still create content for someone that is just entering HR, but I promise you, despite my brilliance and intelligence, it will not hit hard.
Like
those
what they'll create.
Because they just literally left the entry. Me, I'm managing CEO, I'm managing executive director already, I'm managing COO. They are still at entry level. They can probably talk about hiring, recruitment, very basic HR things, but I can. If you put me and Ife right now and you're an entry level person, you will get a lot from me because I'm brilliant, hello. But you would most likely connect with the practical things Ife will tell you if Ife is the one sitting here. So imagine Ife saying, oh, I'm not going to create content because I just have 2 years experience. Yeah, so what you should take away is that whatever knowledge that you have, there is someone who needs that knowledge. Yeah, there's one of my friends. She has just 1 year data analysis knowledge. I said, put it out there. That content that you learned in 1 day, because there is someone who is trying to get
to that point
data.
Where you are, Sure.
Yeah. So just share what you have. Like there's someone who needs what you have. Just share what you have.
I think that's a very, very brilliant way to put it. Just there's someone out there that just need what you have. Just create, and they'll find it really valuable. You were recognized as one of Nigeria's top disruptive leaders.
Yeah, top 20.
Yeah. So how do you approach innovation and creativity even in the HR space? Because a lot of times, especially in Nigeria context, Africa context, they believe that this is how we've been doing it before. Let's keep doing it like that. How do you approach innovating and maybe beyond even HR too, for all of the other interesting stuff you do? Yeah, because I know you also do a bit of journalism, writing. So how do you foster creativity, innovation in all of these spaces where you play?
Number one, I put my career on the line every day. I fight with CEOs. That's how. Don't do it. It's risky. Okay. So I do not like status quo. I genuinely do not like status quo. And it doesn't even mean that like I enter an organization and I change everything they've been doing.
Disruptive.
Right. I just like to ask, why is this being done this way? But that's most questions I ask. And our leave is, you can't go on leave until you are 1 year. Why? If you give me a good reason, I can counter it. I can say, okay, that makes sense. I can say, yeah. People don't get raised, so they spend 1 year. Why? Why don't they? Why? People resume at 8 o'clock. Why should people resume at 8 o'clock? If they were in Lekki traffic for 6 hours, left office 6 p.m., got to office 2 a.m. You expect them to come back to the same office 8 a.m. Why? And we deduct 5,000 naira for people that come late. Why? Do you think that I would genuinely wake up and want to come late to work? Don't you think that it will affect my productivity too? So you need 8 hours at work. So people need to be in from 8 to 4. How about we say we have flexi time, which is what Telebank did, and say you can come in anytime as long as you spend 8 hours. Come in 10 a.m., leave 6 p.m. Come in 12 p.m., leave 8 a.m. Come in 7 a.m., leave 3 p.m. Just spend 8 hours at work. So like, I am very curious, especially when it comes to my field, and I am also very inquisitive. Why is this happening? Why are women any less than men? Why does women football not have the same kind of views that men football have? Why is the most expensive women footballer $1 million and the most expensive male footballer is $22 million? Like, I just like to ask questions. And when I'm done asking the questions, I also provide solutions. I literally just like to ask why and then provide solutions where necessary, challenge stuff. And sometimes I just accept. So I do that.
Being able to just like question things and be very, very curious, ask about why is it like this? Why is this thing like this? I think I heard somewhere that once you can like ask very good questions, it's going to easily lead you to great answers or great solutions.
Yeah. When you ask intelligent questions, like you become a better person generally. Even ask yourself questions, like
not like even how prompts now work, even with ChatGPT now or any AI platform. Once you can give a better prompt, then you are sure to get
equality.
We can both be looking for the same thing, answers to the same thing. But if you ask better questions, you might get your own answer faster.
Yeah,
I think that's very, very interesting. So you had mentioned your love for books, how you grew up with books. I know you're a very big book lover. Founded Book Carton, and then you post a lot about the books that you read. How much of impact has your love for book, exposure to book, shaped how you think about stuff, life, business, life in general?
Oh yeah, I think that, like now it's 2025, knowledge has been distilled. This is knowledge being shared, in a podcast. Knowledge has been distilled into the various formats. I run a YouTube channel, there are podcasts, there are even movies. You learn a lot from movies. But I genuinely think that people should genuinely seek knowledge. Books shift me a lot. I don't read as often as I used to, and I genuinely misread it. Now I'm watching K-drama and women football. I still tweeted that like very recently that, please, which African book should I be reading? But yeah, like books definitely impacted my life. I would share 2 major stories. Number one is like in 2018, I attended a leadership and development conference, and there's this amazing man, his name is Hussein Odo, who was the head of HR at Dangote, and he was in the room. The panel or the session was about like just learning and development, and he asked, how many people in this room have read 50 books this year? Like 4 of us raised up our hands. How many people have read 60? 2 of us raised up our hand. How many people have read 70? My hand was up. This was September, and I'd read 70 books. And like, just that gave me a lot of access. Number one, it bought me 30 books. Because I told him I wanted to read 100 books that year, and he bought me 30 books. 2, he gave me access to him. We talked a lot. Through 2018, 2019, 2020. I still have his numbers today. And they're just rooms. There are sometimes that I read a book and it doesn't even make sense to me. And like I'm in a room, like remember something I read in the book, just one of my books, which I really need to read again. The title is Captivate. And that book really helped my social life. Remember when I said I'm an introvert? Like I literally can enter a room, not even a serious room, a party, and pick someone that who is interested in the party, who is bored, who needs to talk to someone, just by their like facial appearance and demeanor. And like I read it from a book. Book has shaped my HR career, my leadership career. When I was in uni, I'm always reading 21 Irreversible Laws of Leadership. Leadership, yada, yada, yada. Leadership, and I promise you, even though I read those books in uni, till date, like there are things I find very helpful. So yeah, definitely.
Looking ahead now, let's say 5 to 10 years, what's your vision for the HR space in Africa, maybe for startups generally?
No, one, shout out to all the amazing HR doing great stuff. If you check the list of like the top 20 disruptive people that you saw there, you see a lot of amazing names. Freda Okosodo, Yewanje Jinodu, Fokwe Daniels, like a lot of people just working in this forward thinking tech startups. I think that, and we can all testify that the HR we grew up to hear about It's not the HR like it's, that we are practicing now. Before, HR was just admin, hire, fire, let's come and deduct salary. Now we see that HR is gradually growing into the role of being a strategic partner, working with founders to achieve business goals and objectives. Look at all the business, strategy insights that I shared earlier in this podcast, right? So we are glad that HR is gradually shifting from an admin and operations to a strategic partner. What will HR look like in 5 years? Let me tell you a joke. I applied for a role, I think it was early this year. I was just checking like my worth in the global market. And they said, knowledge of Python. Huh?
For HR.
I promise you, it was a people analytic role. And, so additional requirements. We'll be glad if you can use Python.
If you have all these extras.
Py what? But like, that's literally the future. Right, there would be a lot of intersection between HR and tech. HR will become heavily data driven. Yeah, so learn the analytics, be able to use Excel very well, Google Sheets. If you can use Power BI, lucky you, man, lucky you. Right. HR will continuously evolve and absorb more tech. We would completely move from operations, but there are now companies that have something called shared services. So if you're an HR admin, go to shared services, and they have operations and they have strategy. So shared services are people that like manage vendor relations, things like that. They are still HR, but they are at the wrong of the cadre. And like we have the I, strategy, operations, partnerships, branding, employer branding, recruitment. So you would see a lot of, I checked out a role recently. Was it Bloomberg? The title was Employer Branding Manager. What am I even saying? I saw another more interesting one. Employer Branding Content Specialist. So what this person, even though this person sits with HR, what the JD is majorly waking up and thinking, how can I make people love this company more? No. So the person writes blog, creates videos, do TikTok. I don't know if you know Donna Amara of UBA that does TikTok about UBA. Like, that's what the person wakes up to do. That's their JD. So they sit between HR and marketing. So that's literally what the future of HR looks like. How can we use data to do storytelling? How can we absorb more tech to make our work more effective? And that's something that upcoming HR should watch out for.
Interesting. So personally now?
For me personally, Netflix, I'm here. No, yeah, so I think I'm at the level again. I've worked again. I have an 8-year career and I've worked 6 years in leadership. I would probably at some point do a fully sponsored MBA. Please, if you are looking to sponsor, I make good investment. I'm begging the name of God. 100K. See, I'm very sure that I will get partial scholarship if you sponsor. So you don't even need to pay the whole 100K. I'll get like 50% scholarship. I'm smart, I know. I just need guarantee.
You know book.
I know street, I know book, I know HR. So I'm very sure I'll get a scholarship, but it might not be fully funded. So if you like investments, I'll pay you back in 5 years. Yeah, so I definitely would do an MBA, definitely in coming years. I would love to, before I quit HR to move to my love, which is sports journalism. I would like to do HR at very high strategic level with a top multinational, somewhere in Silicon Valley, or like a Fortune 500, Fortune 250, Fortune 100 company. Yeah, so for me, like in the next 5 years, that's what it look like. And I might come back to Africa. And like build. I don't want to build a startup, right? Yeah. So maybe HR Clinic will become very bigger, and then we then begin to partner with VCs. Really, the way venture capital work. Like when they are investing, they train people in products, train people legally, yada yada yada. So we have like those training for startups in Africa, so that from onset, as you are getting your product right, you're also getting your people right, culture right, and things like that. So yeah, maybe I will do that with HR Clinic. But first an MBA, or maybe first Netflix should come in, then an MBA, then we'll see what impact we want to make.
Yeah, awesome. It's going to be interesting. We're absolutely rooting for you. In wrapping up, any final words for anyone that will happen to see another Emmanuel Faith face again, maybe on YouTube, something that can help them in whatever phase they are currently.
Final word also. No, okay, so the final words now. Don't just work. Show you are working. And people have dragged me for this. Christians have dragged me, but I will keep saying it. One of my favorite scriptures is see a man diligent in his work.
Stand before kings and all before men, man.
My version of that scripture, ladies and gentlemen, is see a man or a woman diligent in their work that the king sees or hears about.
Good.
They shall stand before the king and not mere men. And if you look at all the context in the Bible, the king had to either see
Or hear about the
or
person
hear
to
about
someone.
them. Joseph, Daniel, who was the dreamer? Okay, Joseph was the dreamer. Daniel was the interpreter of dreams. The king had to see or hear about them. If there was nobody to talk about them, or there was no wonders that was seen about them, they will not have stood before the king. Work, do good work, but also show the good work that you are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been the awesome episode with Emmanuel Faith, and I'm sure that you will find this particular episode really valuable.
And subscribe to his channel.
Yeah,
Let
please
him know.
subscribe to Amazing
Let him
Expert.
know.
We promise to keep bringing top and amazing people doing great stuff just to inspire you and just let you know that, yeah, you can do great things. You can just do things, achieve your dreams, achieve remarkable exploits, irrespective of your background, wherever you come from, whether it's a small place or medium place. We'll catch you guys on another one. Bye.